All right, today we've got solving one-step equations. This is lesson 8.1. So the very first thing you need to know are equivalent equations. And what that means is they are equations that have the same solution. If they are equivalent, they are equal. So we need to talk about the word isolate because we're going to use that a lot. So to isolate, that is to solve an equation, you get the variable alone on one side of the equation. And to do this, you need inverse operations. These are operations that undo one another. So for example, the opposite of addition is subtraction, and the opposite of subtraction is addition. The opposite of multiplication is division, and the opposite of division is multiplication. These are inverse operations. So we've got a couple steps for solving equations. The very first one is we want to isolate the variable, get the variable by itself. And then we want to undo the operation on each side, simplify, and then finally check your answer by substitution. So a couple of examples that we have here. The very first one, 8 plus what number equals 14? I understand that you can do this in your head, but I want to go through all of the steps. So the very first thing I want you to do is isolate the variable. And what we've been doing all year, take the sign before that variable. All right, it's a positive x. I want to get rid of that 8. What kind of an 8 is it? What's happening to that 8? That 8 is being added to x, so I want to do the opposite. All right, it's a positive 8, so I want to do the opposite of positive 8, which is subtract 8. Now here's the trick. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. The other side of what, you might be asking? This equal sign. I'm going to draw a line down the middle and help separate it, but I need to keep everything balanced. So whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I need to do to the other side of the equal sign. So if I subtract 8 from both and everything's even, everything's balanced, 8 minus 8 is nothing but x, and x is going to equal 14 minus 8, which is 6. So that would be my answer. You can check it, substitute it back in. What's 8 plus 6? Boom, 14. There you go. Our second example says x minus 12 is 19. Again, you can probably do this in your head, but I want to do this with all of the steps. So isolate the variable. It's a positive x. Get rid of what's happening to it. Well, x is being subtracted by 12. What's the opposite of subtracting by 12? The opposite of negative 12 is plus 12. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, do to the other side. Put that little split down the middle of your equal sign. So plus 12 on the left, plus 12 on the right, everything stays even. Negative 12 plus 12, kind of fill that hole, so that's going to give you x equals, and 19 plus 12 is going to give you 31. You can check it, substitute 31 in for x, 31 minus 12, yes, it is 19, that works. Two more examples here. Look at number 3. 7x equals 42. 7 times what number equals 42? Again, I understand that you probably know it, but that's okay. Go through the motions here. Isolate your variable. So, oops, I need my marker here. All right. So I've isolated my variable. What's happening to it? X is being multiplied by 7. So I need to do the inverse operation of multiply. Well, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So instead of x is being multiplied by 7, I'm going to divide by 7. Same thing, whatever you do to one side, do to the other. 7 divided by 7 is going to leave me 1x. That's exactly what I want. I want 1x. I don't need the 1 in front of it. If you want to, go ahead and put it. And then 42 divided by 7 is going to give you 6. So check your answer. Substitute it back in. Instead of 7 times x, it's going to be 7 times 6, and yes, that equals 42. Same thing with our last example. Isolate your x. Check out what's happening to it. X is being divided by 3. What's the opposite of dividing by 3? The opposite of dividing 3 is multiplying by 3. So I'm just going to rewrite it. So I've got x is being divided by 3. I need to multiply by 3. Whatever I do to one side, I need to do to the other side. Keep your equation balanced. 3 divided by 3 is going to give you x, 1x, and 6 times 3 is 18. If you go back and check, plug in 18 for x. 18 divided by 3 is 6, so it works. There's your answer. We're going to be doing a lot of these tomorrow, and I will see you then.